Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to be looking at my top 10 favorite Ridgid power tools. Now we're going to have a couple of honorable mentions in there, so you're going to get some bonus content. Let's get right into it. Number 10, the 6-inch random orbit sander. I make cabinets and shelves. And I can tell you that that thing has run all day, every day. You see it, it's caked in sawdust. But never had an issue with it. It works great. Highly recommend it. Number 9, the Ridgid tire inflator. Now this is a relatively new tool to Ridgid, having just come out either late last year or early this year. And one of the things that I like about it is that you can set your PSI and it will remember it as long as you don't take the battery out. Number 8, the Ridgid trim router. I have a couple of these. This is the cleanest one. I absolutely love this thing. I love the micro adjustments. So you just let loose of this, and there's a knob here, and you can move up or down. And I know there's some controversy to this. Some tool channels had said there's no macro adjustment. Macro adjustment. All you have to do is pull this out, and you can move the base. Pretty easy. Surprisingly great power out of this and very good runtime. I do highly recommend this. That takes us down to number 7. And this is another new offering from Ridgid. This is their max output brushless. If you want to get technical, it's their brushless oscillating tool. This came out in April as part of a 4-tool kit. I believe now it's starting to come out just tool only. Some of the features that I like about it, left-handed, so I do use the dial down here with my left hand. I also like, there are little magnets right here that hold your tool on, your blade on. That is a very nice feature to have added on to that. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. Now we're at number 6, their job site blower. If you're working with sawdust all day, as I do, and you need something that's just going to quick take the dust off of your table saw or clear out an area or, you know, clean off your sidewalks. And this sucker, surprisingly powerful. I did a video where I compared this to their smaller blower and use this to move a cutting board across the floor. That takes us to number 5. And number 5 is the Octane high torque impact drive, or yeah, impact wrench. Funny with the inflator, same vehicle, got it flat, and I was putting the lug nuts back on. Was not paying attention as I was talking to my wife, and within 2 seconds this had popped one of the bolts for the lug nuts off of the car. So I had to get that replaced. But this thing, if you have not used it, is a powerful beast. Multiple modes. It does have an auto mode, which I don't use, but if you're not very familiar with impact wrenches, it does have them there, and it'll help you, it'll stop you so you're not popping bolts or breaking bolts. This thing is amazing. I highly recommend getting this either at Home Depot or at Direct Tools Factory Outlet. Between the two, Direct Tools Factory Outlet probably be your best source, and factory blemished still gets covered by the LSA. Now we're getting into some of my absolute favorite tools. Love these things, and if you have not used them yet, please do so. You use them once, I think you'll be hooked. So we're going to go right to it. Number 4 is the Ridgid Max Output Impact Driver. Again, got this in April as part of a 4-tool kit. This thing is powerful. You have seen me use this up against the DeWalt DCF 887, a Bauer, and a Milwaukee. This thing more than holds its own against anyone, any manufacturer out there. Now, that's not saying it'll beat everybody, but it will compete. And if you show up on a job site with this as your main impact driver, you're still going to be making a ton of money with this thing. Highly recommend. Now, this next one is a little hit or miss on how to find it. Sometimes it's under Home Depot's website where you can order it. Most of the time, though, it's not. But when you can get it, you absolutely should. And this is by far my absolute favorite impact driver of them all. If I had to only choose one, this would be it. And it is the Ridgid Stealth Force. This is a hydraulic drive, impact driver, so you're not getting that concussive sound like you would with, say, the Max Output. This one is quieter, as you can see, dust covered because I use it all the time. My absolute favorite, if you are in an enclosed area, as I am with making cabinets, I don't always want to have that loud in my ears. It hurts my ears. I grab the Stealth Force. That's the one I use. And now the one tool, no list for me of my 10 favorite Ridgid power tools would be complete without the Ridgid Megamax. I have all 3 heads for this, all the power you would ever need. I cannot say enough great things about this tool. This was for many, many months my go-to as far as a recip saw. I would put the recip saw head on there and go to town because, I mean, it's just so strong. Now, before I unveil my number 1 all-time favorite tool, not just Ridgid tool, but all-time favorite tool, we've got to do some honorable mentions. And the first among those are these little guys, the Ridgid Subcompacts. Been using these for maybe a year now. In particular, this one, when I need to get into tight spaces because the head is so small, it is so easy to use. And then there's the drill driver. I use this in a head-to-head against the 2 models of the Gen 5X drill driver, not the hammer drills, just the 2 Gen 5 drill drivers, and their new brushed drill driver. This little guy beat them all. To surprise me, but yes, it's very powerful for a drill driver. If you are looking just for a DIY set around your house and you don't want to have something big and bulky, absolutely 100% recommend the Subcompacts from Ridgid. Now, this next one is going to surprise, maybe even upset some of the Ridgid fans out there, because this one gets dogged all the time on the Ridgid community pages on Facebook. But I have used it. I have to tell you, it is a great tool. And that is the Ridgid Max Output Brushless Hammer Drill. Again, picked up in April. Been using it, not as my go-to, but as one of the hammer drills I will get into or use. Not the most powerful hammer drill out there. That's the only knock I have on it. Everything else about it is comfortable. It does have enough power. Even the light is good. It doesn't use as much battery as my number one, my favorite Ridgid power tool of all time, bar none, my favorite tool, period. The Ridgid Octane hammer drill, all 1,200 inch-pounds of beauty with the light ring. This is my go-to. If I have to grab one tool, whether impact driver or drill driver or hammer drill, this is the one I pick up. My absolute favorite. I recommend it every time I talk to somebody. You can still get these at Home Depot or Direct Tools Factory Outlet. If you like the content, you thought it was entertaining, whatever, tell me down in the comments section. Subscribe while you're there. Take it easy.